am Maureen Tara Nelson of MTN Matchmaking here on our Friday Facebook Live. And as you can see, I am alone. So I don't know if you realize, but doing a Facebook Live is up by yourself. It's not fun. It's so much more fun when my team or my colleagues or my friends are doing it with me. So today I'm doing it by myself, so I need all of my friends and my followers to please join in, but I won't see you unless you comment. So if you don't want me, calling you out, by talking to you or saying your name, just say hi, okay? But hopefully you can give me some dating questions, because that's always been the purpose of our Friday Facebook Live. And I didn't even look at the questions. The girls two of them are on vacation today. And so I just have the list. Didn't look at it yet, which I just figured that'll be more fun. Anyway. So, but if you have questions, please write them in the comments, and please let me know if you are watching, because if you're not watching, I'm going to hang up right now. I'm only kidding. But hopefully my friends and my followers will watch, and hopefully this will be lots of fun. I'm in my nice, sweet mode today, so you don't have to worry about me yelling at you. I don't really yell at people. If I yell at a client, believe me, they did something wrong. It would have to be so bad, because I'm trying to think of the times that it's happened. And yes, it was bad sometimes. And I just had to say, you cannot say blank blank on a date. I don't care. But in a minute, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to say hi, peeps. And I want to make sure that I'm actually on, because we all know I'm not the one that does the behind the scenes of the Facebook Live. So I just want to double check that I know what I'm doing. Okay, let's see if I am public. Yes, okay. I am public. But I don't know if I'm on, but okay. Anyway, so just say hi. So I don't think that I'm talking to myself. But thank you to everyone who wrote in questions. I just love the fact that people do take their time and writing questions to us, which, before I start, reminds me of the monthly column that I used to do for the Long Island Press. Everyone knows I love the Long Island Press. So I had a dating column all of last year. Now, I would need to know from any of you if you want me to do that again. Because if you don't, or if you didn't read it, then obviously it wouldn't make sense for me to be doing that. So let me know if you liked the fact of, or if you liked reading the monthly column that I have. Okay, let's see. Let me just take a gander. Oh, wow, this is very complicated down here. Ooh, I better get out of all that stuff. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Let me just see. Nope, made it worse. Okay, I'm just going to not touch anything, and I'm just going to read the questions and talk to all of you who are going to kindly tune in to Friday Facebook Live. Okay. Well, first, sorry, did you hear that noise? I am, for those of you who don't know, I moved into a new condo, and I hope everyone knows that it's really not appropriate to ask someone, where do you live? Okay, so all what I'm saying is it's in Suffolk County, but I love the complex here. It's got an amazing pool, gym, places to walk, the scenery, the condos, they have houses, they have everything. It's really amazing. But I just don't feel comfortable saying what town it's in. Okay. But I have my 3 drinks as usual. My Monster, which I will be thin again like I always was my whole life the moment I stop drinking these. Diet Coke, which last night's interview asked me, oh, you're drinking wine on the interview? Oh. Although I disqualified her, so I should have been drinking wine. And if you follow my social media, you'll see that I disqualified a woman yesterday. You please, if you're contemplating going to a private upscale matchmaking service, just remember there are certain things that are mandatory. You need to impress the matchmaker in order to get into that program. I'm assuming all of my colleagues don't take on everyone, okay? But I certainly don't. I only take on people without a felony record, if they're positive, emotionally stable, financially stable, and looking for a committed relationship. So remember, the key word is positive. Because if you're not positive, I can't make you successful. And I could tell you from my heart that anyone that I was not able to make successful, they weren't positive. Or we also ask people to just do 3 things. And I say it on the interview too. Can you be positive, patient, and open-minded? Sometimes people say, no, I'm not patient at all. Okay, well, thanks for looking into us, but we're not going to be a good fit. And best of luck on the internet sites if you live on Long Island. Now, I can't make things happen right away. Okay, I'm not a magician, is my famous line. And I wish I could say what I want to say, but I can't. But what I'll say is hi. So, okay, we'll go right to the questions, okay? But just so you know, I disqualified a girl yesterday. Oh my goodness. It's, not only did she have resting bitch face, but that, when you have a resting bitch face, if you don't address that, it's going to compose your whole body. And that's the vibes that you're putting out. Who in the world is going to want to approach someone with a puss face, right? So, hi Alex. Bring them on video. Oh, okay. Well, just in case anyone does want, I'm sure no one wants to go on video. I shouldn't even said that because people will be afraid to watch it. I'm not going to put anyone on video, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to start with the questions. What is the biggest misconception of going to a matchmaking service? Oh, okay, this is easy. So when I first started, I was a former pharmaceutical rep. I was a young girl, and I didn't know anything about, a matchmaking service, but a dating service came to Long Island. So I didn't know anything about it. And a lot of times people said, oh, you know, a dating service, that's for people that need help dating, okay? Or it's like the Lonely Hearts Club of people that can't get a date. No, that is the biggest miscommunication, the biggest misconception, okay? Here, people get to raise the bar. Now, I'm doing the screening process. I'm doing the compatibility analysis. The one thing I can't do is the compatibility. So certainly I try to market all of the top 10% of all singles on Long Island. I want all of you here because I have the greatest guys, and the greatest girls. Both of my clients, male or female, they are truly the top 10%. So if you feel that you're that way too, don't fall or don't think of that misconception. It's not the Lonely Hearts Club. If someone needs help finding someone, I can't help them. Someone has to already be the type of person that everywhere they go, people want to meet them. They're charismatic. They typically get into a lot of relationships until they realize after about 6 months, wait a minute, something happened. I think he or she changed. No, they didn't change. Okay? It's just that when we meet people on our own, we tell each other, typically on the first date, exactly what we're looking for. Whether you realize you're doing it or not, or you remember the person asking you the question, or you realize you're asking someone the question. But everyone does it. So that person, if they feel they have chemistry with you, they're going to be exactly like what you said you wanted. Now, is that lying? Yes, because you're putting on a facade of someone you're not. And is that going to work? No. It typically does work for about 6 months. And, that's it. Because people can only be something they're not for 6 months. And at that moment, a lot of times people will think, oh, that person changed. Again, they didn't change. This is how they always were. They were just pretending to be what you and we told them we want. Okay? So, if you think that you need help dating, that's when you talk about that with a therapist. Okay? That's not when you call a private upscale matchmaker on Long Island, MTN matchmaking. Now, also a misconception is that people think, okay, I'm spending this amount of money. I know I'm at the best service that there is. It should happen like this. Now, I wish it could. I wish it could. But there are so many dynamics to finding someone the right one. And that's why, number one, the divorce rate's so high, because people get married and they might even know they're not compatible, but they're praying things will change or the person will change. That's not going to happen. Compatibility is the most important thing. And you have to really look for that. And you have to wait at least 6 months until you find out if you are compatible or not. But people, again, they think that this is a quick fix because I have 3,000 plus clients. But what you have to realize is a lot of those clients are on hold with one another. So yes, will most of them turn into a success story? Absolutely. if they don't, then they'll come back into the mix. And it's never compatibility. It's that they didn't feel that they had enough chemistry to sustain a committed relationship for life, or marriage. Okay, and you need both. Okay, always remember we need compatibility and we need chemistry. So on the outside world, everyone has the hard job of, you're going by chemistry because you like that person, you think they're good looking, you're either going to approach them, or if they approach you, you'll accept. Compatibility takes about 6 months. Here, with my 25 years experience and my former career, which taught us all about personalities, etc., that's what I specialize in. So here, I make sure everyone is compatible 2 and 3 ways. But even with that, okay, so I'm doing the screening process, I'm making sure you're compatible. Everyone also gets to pick 5 must-haves. Again, you might think, how easy could that be? Chemistry is something that I could never do in a million years, because have you ever, this is the best way to think of it, we all think differently when it comes to compatibility, okay? I know what I'm attracted to, and you all know what you're attracted to. But if you're compatible with someone, I noticed many years ago that compatibility breeds chemistry. So that person that you're compatible with, that you go out with, you might start to feel chemistry, and they might be the total, completely opposite of what you thought you found attractive. So again, we're not a quick fix because of the issue of chemistry. And I could line up, say I have an amazing guy in my program, and he is my favorite, he's gorgeous, he's successful, he's positive, he's super intelligent, all of that stuff, okay? So I have that guy. Now I know what he wants. I know what visually he likes. But again, I know that if one day I show him someone that's compatible to him, he might change his mind on that. But it's okay if he never does, because one of the benefits of my service is that I will continue working with someone who's, as long as you take all of my advice, and that's really all it takes. So if I lined up 10 beautiful women, okay, that I think, okay, these women are knockouts, and if I said to, say, that hypothetical great quality client of mine, who do you think is the most beautiful? And then if I asked 9 of my other guys, they typically are not going to all pick the same person. Now, you probably think, oh no, they'll all pick the same one. But remember what I said. I'm not showing, in this example, 9 average looking people and 1 gorgeous person. If I show 10 very attractive ladies, okay, so they're all attractive, and if I say then, who do you think is the most attractive, my 10 guys are going to pick different ladies. Now, again, just to kind of fine-tune that and put that to bed, is that can change. So today, that person could look at these beautiful girls and say, oh yeah, she is who I really think is the best. But in, who knows, maybe you see a movie, or you start watching a new show, and you find yourself attracted to one of the characters and one of the other girls maybe resembles that person, that changes. So my point in all of this is chemistry changes on the dime. You might think, oh, I have my type and that's all I want, and really that's like the worst thing to do as a single person. Because of what I'm saying, chemistry does change so much with all of us. So keep an open mind. And so that was a great question, by the way. Okay, I need my monster fix, and feel free to ask any questions. Okay, number 2, what is the difference between dating apps and other matchmaking services? Okay, so I'm assuming compared to my program. Well, surprisingly, this is not an infomercial on MTN Matchmaking. So I'm not going to be telling you all the great things about us at MTN Matchmaking. That's what we have a website for, mtnmatchmaking.com. This Friday Facebook Live, I've been doing it for over 10 years, is about answering your dating questions. So you don't have to be a client, it doesn't matter where you live. I'm here to help all of you be a better dater and to hopefully find love on your own so that you don't need a private upscale matchmaker. Because again, people just come to us to raise the bar and to get the job done quicker than anyone could do on their own. Okay, so I would say in a very generic way that the differences of the dating apps to a matchmaking service, okay, that's probably the best way, because then it's not me just preaching, what I do and how wonderful it is, because I love what I do. So the dating apps are frightening. Have you not noticed that they're frightening? Please, anyone that's doing the dating apps, would you please, for God's sake, comment, tell me what the last 3 people were like that you met on the dating apps. Now, let's see, I started matchmaking 25 years ago. 20 years ago, I opened up my own business. That's when dating apps started 20 years ago. Do you know that there are times I will look on the dating apps because I want to see what is out there? I sometimes see the same people that I saw 20 years ago. Can you even imagine what that is like and how frightening that is like for me to see that? So, think about that the next time you're on a dating app. That person might have been on for years. And why would they be on for years? Because maybe they're not looking for a committed relationship. So the biggest difference is with the dating services, there is no screening process. You are not being interviewed by someone. You're not being screened and qualified for someone. You're not being disqualified because that you're not a nice person. I mean, I like to believe the good in everyone, so I would love to be my Pollyanna and think everyone is, beautiful and nice and sweet. We know that's not true. But I do believe people have the ability to change and to always improve themselves. And, therapy is always a way to do that. Life coaching is a great way. If you ever need a life coach, I have a great one, Tiffany. And online, you might notice I follow this amazing guy, Derek, and they work together, which is, I find absolutely amazing. So, so you should definitely check that out. Okay. So let's put that's done. Okay. Now let's see about the differences between other matchmakers. Okay. So how I'm going to do this, because again, I don't want it to sound like we're better than them or anyone, because I'm an executive level certified matchmaker and I work with the certified matchmakers throughout. I used to work with the ones from New York, because we also had a New York City office till the pandemic, and then when we learned how to do the interviews virtually, I realized I really didn't need the investment of a full-time office in Manhattan. So we do Manhattanites, as I call them, virtually through FaceTime or Zoom, of course. But so if I'm working with now all of the certified matchmakers, because I went national 2 years ago. Okay, so I work with them, I respect them, and we do things differently. I'm certainly not thinking for a second that people would only like my way better. Never in a million years would I think that. I just know my clients think that our service is better, and that's why they joined us. Okay, so to make this simple for everyone, if you're thinking of going to a matchmaker, it's a great idea. Make sure they're certified. Okay, it's probably going to be free if a friend of yours says, "Oh, I used to match all my friends in high school, and I don't need to work, so I'm just going to be a matchmaker." Okay. You get what you pay for, remember, in everything in life. So write down the things that are important to you, because with matchmakers, there are different things that we all do. For example, most matchmakers don't show photos. Or at least, when I first started and opened my business 20 years ago, no matchmaker showed photos. I always believed in showing photos, because by not showing photos, a matchmaking service can sign someone up for, and I'm not saying that, it's just not what I do, okay? But you need to ask yourself, is it important for you to see photos? So, but just keep in mind, without seeing photos, you'll get more dates, but will you be getting second dates? Okay, because you'll be signing up, say, for three dates. They'll have 3 dates for you to go out with, because you're not seeing photos. So naturally, everyone has to say yes to one another. And then when you go on a date, it might not be with someone that you would want to go out with. Okay, so that's why I personally feel it's important to show photos. You might not. So that should be one of your criteria or questions to ask when you're looking for a matchmaker. Also, matchmakers, we're all different in the way that some of them, and the companies that I worked for before opening my own business, and I'm not mentioning them, but they took on everyone. Okay? So just say if you're afraid that you might not pass a screening process, but you want to be in the service, then go to a service that you know takes on everyone. I don't do that. So we have a very thorough screening process, but you should ask what that screening process is. Okay, let's see what else. Many times people will call up and say, I want to be a database person. I don't want to pay. And, you know, I don't, and I never took on database people. So all of our clients pay, and, I mean, except for my dad, when I matched my dad. You know, family's a different story, of course. But, so, ask if you could be matched with a database person. And you determine whether that's good enough for you, okay? I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying that I don't take on database clients, okay? But I'm one of the very few companies that don't take on database. Okay, you should ask about the cost. Again, I love my colleagues, and if I refer one of my clients over to them, what we do is we give each other anywhere like a 15% to 20% referral, because that person came in to join either my service or their service. So if I, for some reason, I'm not going to take someone on, and I refer them to a better matchmaker for that particular person, because I've never said I could help everyone. Never. I can't. I have my screening process the way it is for a certain reason. Okay? So I know I can make all of my clients successful if they take my advice, given enough time. Okay. So I can tell you, because I'm getting the referral rate, if I give one of the potential clients of mine to one of my wonderful colleagues, their fees typically are at least $10,000, say, or $20,000. Many are $30,000, many are $50,000, and it goes up to $100,000. And now, before you say, "Oh, that's crazy," oh, blah blah blah, just remember, if that person is in a very high income bracket and they don't have more than 15 minutes extra time a day, okay? Because we all have the same 24-hour days, 24 hours in a day. So if someone at that income bracket really wants to get married, they want to have kids, they might have a list of 50 things they want in a person. Whereas with my clients, I'm still, everyone has to be financially stable, so I'm still an investment, but I'm a fraction of the costs, just because I'm in the business for a different reason, which I go into when I meet with someone. But I let my clients pick 5. Okay, so you have 5 must-haves that you can give me on an interview. Not 10, not 20, not 25, but if you're paying a matchmaker $100,000, I'm sure you have a lot more than 5. So all of those things are, you know, for your own choice of what is best for you. Lastly, I would say experience matters. I can remember my first year of owning my own business. I still tried 100%. I did. I still worked as much as I physically could, but I had 2 young kids. and they were my life, and they always will be. But, and anyone that knows me knows my life has always been my kids and my business in that order. Now my kids are on their own, and they're successful, and they're happy, so that's why we went national 2 years ago. But I can tell you over the past 15 years, okay, I could do matchmaking in my sleep at this point. That's just the best way to say it. And just like whatever you do, just say you're a physician, okay, and you're the best physician that there is. You can do things for your patients like that, without any thought process or, because you're so brilliant. Okay, I'm certainly not saying I am, but I'm just saying when it comes to matchmaking only, I've been doing it so long that for me, I could match my clients in my sleep. Okay, so those are the things that you should look for when deciding if you should do a matchmaking service or not. Okay, where are the questions? Where are the comments? And, I hope I'm doing this right. I really hope I'm doing it right. I don't know. I don't know if I am. Let me just see. Wow, I've been talking for a half hour. All right, I'm annoying myself at this point, so could you please ask some questions. I have 2 new phones instead of the 14s. I have the 16s because 2 of our work phones, broke. The 16 phone is very complicated. Does anybody have? I'm trying to get a better view of. Okay. Very hard to see myself on Facebook Live, and I do know that most people, we're always harder on ourselves than we need to be. But anyway, again, and it's harder to do Facebook Live by myself because usually I would have cursed a million times already. I really wouldn't have. But the point is, it's hard to make myself laugh, So, join in. Okay, the next question is, this is very interesting. When was the easiest time for me to make success stories? Wow. Okay, let me have some monster for this one. Okay. So, definitely, I would say that the easiest time for me to have success stories, and this is probably the thing that you're not going to believe, but it was during the pandemic. People they were calling us up saying, I don't want to die alone, and it was really, really hard and saddening. But we did daily Facebook Lives to spread love and cheer to everyone. And the people that joined during the pandemic, I think the reason why it was so easy to make success stories is they realized the importance of love. They were here to find love, just like everyone should be, okay? And for the most part, they are. But during the pandemic, no doubt about it, people were paying their hard-earned money, and we, during the entire pandemic crisis, we gave 50% off our fees, just because we knew that money was an issue for everyone, no matter how healthy you were, basically. So during the pandemic, people realized that they knew compatibility and chemistry, okay, is the formula to success, but they took my advice that the most important thing in the world is compatibility. So if you're compatible to someone, you're more than halfway there, okay? You just really, all you have to do is give the person enough of a chance to see if chemistry develops. And again, it usually takes 3 times, 3 dates, where during 3 dates, the first date you could be so nervous. The second date, you could be nervous too. By the 3rd date, no one's really nervous. So it's really best to, give each other more of a chance. And everyone was doing that during the pandemic. Everybody, they were not there to waste time. And that's my big thing. I always say, I never waste time. And that's why I disqualify people if I see that they're not going to take my advice. Whereas years ago, I would have taken them on because I thought, oh, I want to help them. Oh, I feel bad. Well, those are always the people that turn around and do bad reviews. But I don't work with the Karens of the world or the people that are negative. Again, the cornerstone of our screening process is you have to be positive. Okay, so of course the pandemic was the worst time in the world. But for me personally, I saw all of my clients saying, I'm here to take your advice. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. So I kind of wish if everyone had that same mindset now, it would just make things so much easier. Okay, I'm just sending a little text. Okay, so now let's see. What is the next question? And if you're watching, if you have questions, just put them in the comments and I will answer them. Okay, so let me just double check that I am on correctly on Facebook so that I could read your comments. Okay, good. Let's see. So we did that. How many more questions do I have? One more question. 2. Okay, so only 3 more questions to go. So if you have questions, now is the time to ask them. Okay. So someone asked, what is my favorite success story? So that, for a second I thought, oh, that sounds just like the last one, but it's a little bit different. And this question, I get asked a lot, but my favorite success stories, they also change too, just by new people coming in or by my, by us getting to know our success stories better or we get closer, all of that stuff. So I guess my favorite, I don't have just one favorite success story. I have so many favorite success stories, and over all of these years I've had over 1,000 success stories, so it's very hard. Of course I wanted to say matching my dad was the greatest honor and privilege of my life, but I would say my beautiful couple whom I became a wedding officiant to marry. Okay, absolutely, that was extremely special for me to, learn how to be a wedding officiant just so I could marry them. And it was funny because then that particular year we had a lot of success stories, and they knew that I was going to marry them, and so a lot of my clients asked if I would marry them personally, and I felt so bad saying, I couldn't, just because I didn't have the time to do it. But so that was my favorite. Oh wow, what is the worst? Yikes, yikes. What is my worst success story? That is a very interesting question. Oh my goodness. Okay, so okay. Well, with my, again, over 1,000 success stories, I only know of 2 divorces, okay? So naturally I would say those are. But the worst success story just definitely was, we used to have events all the time. And now remember, when you're meeting someone at an event, you're seeing them, that's chemistry, but you don't know if you're compatible. Now I know if you're compatible or not, and a lot of times people would come to me at an event and say, oh, she's hot, or he's gorgeous, I want him, blah, blah, blah. And if I knew, or the next day in the office, I would check to see if they're compatible, and maybe I just didn't get a chance to match them yet because there were other people a little bit more compatible, that would be fine. I would skip over and say, okay, you got the green light, you're compatible, and that was great. Now, what do you think happened when people thought, wow, chemistry, 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 and I knew they're not compatible? Do you think people took my advice? Or do you think they still went out knowing that I'm saying they're not compatible? Well, anyone want to comment? So comment and let me know if you think people took my advice or not, because they didn't take my advice. So needless to say, they would go out for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and then they would say, oh, okay, guess you're right, guess we weren't compatible. So along those lines comes my worst success story, because at the singles events, they used to be just us, just the clients. But so many times people would say, oh, I don't want to go alone, and, can I bring a friend? So we used to, feel bad, and we would say, okay, you could bring a friend. So now, what do you think the biggest problem is with that? That people would bring a friend, and one of my clients would like one of the friends. So that happened once, and the girl liked the guy. The guy was my client's friend. Now, I didn't know that guy. So I said, well, I'll interview him to see if you're compatible or not. No, we don't need that. So they ended up getting married. So for a second, I almost, thought, I think I might be wrong. Here they are. They definitely had chemistry. I don't know if they were compatible or not because I didn't know him. He was my client's friend, and they got married. So I guess I kind of assumed that they wouldn't get married unless they knew for sure if they were compatible. Well, I would say about 5 years later, I heard they're one of my 2 divorce stories. So because of that, I'm going to say that was my worst success story. Okay, but that was a great question. And again, any questions you have for me, please put them in. Oh wow, I've been taking a long time here. Ooh. Okay, so we're almost done, unless you have more questions. I have 2 more questions. What are the biggest mistakes singles make? Okay, the biggest mistake singles make. I mean, there's a million mistakes that singles can make. Oh, okay, we finally have a comment. Let's see. They should take your advice because your ability to pick our own partner is predicted on our own beliefs. Wow, I would say this guy's got to be brilliant because that is just right on target. So thank you for that. So the biggest mistake is that, yes, I agree, and that is true. People don't take my advice. But a lot of times, if they're using my service, so they're thinking I'm paying a matchmaker who is a private upscale matchmaker to raise the bar and find an amazing person, they become too selective. Okay, so a lot of times in the beginning, I need to help my clients through dating coaching build up their self-esteem so that they can see, how great they are. Because for the most part, our clients and the best quality singles are modest singles. Okay, but so our clients, the mistake they could make is being too picky. They think, okay, I'm spending the money. I know you said you're only taking 5 must-haves, but I really have in my pocket 10 must-haves. So many times what they've done is they'll say, oh, I don't want to go out with so-and-so because of X, Y, and Z. And I'll say, that's not one of your 5 must-haves. But they'll say, well, it really is important to me. But if you're going to go over 5 must-haves, you're just making it harder on yourself. So, and if anyone wants to give me their 5 must-haves, that would be a lot of fun, I would think. Okay, so, oh, my niece is watching. Fancy Nancy, I love you. My niece Nancy is also my goddaughter. Okay, so, also another mistake that our singles could make, and I think it's important to really emphasize this, is not only being too selective, but being unrealistic, okay? If anyone is unrealistic, you're not going to be successful, no matter what. Just because you're paying a matchmaking service, doesn't mean it happens like this. Again, I'm not a magician, but I've seen a lot of people that they were young when they got married, and when they were young, they were great looking. I know when I was young, before I was married, I really was at my prime. Now years later, anyway, so a big mistake is, say, and I'll just use myself as an example, just say I recently got divorced, which I did, but a lot of times our clients do. They're divorced now, and they're going out into the single world again. Instead of realizing I don't look like I did when I was 30, okay? I'm not 110 pounds anymore. I'm not spiking the ball over the volleyball net and this and that. But it's okay, because as we get older, hopefully we're getting older gracefully and even maybe looking better and knowing ourselves better. So those are the good things that you should be doing as you're getting older and dating, but not making this mistake in being unrealistic, which is you think and you picture in your head that you still look like that. You don't. And why would you? You know, why would you even want to go back 30 years? Look at all the things that we've all gone through. We're all better, hopefully, because of those things. And they've made us all stronger and better, and we're empowered now. And hopefully you all think that you're unstoppable, okay? So don't make that mistake and realize, okay, I know I don't look like that anymore, but I look like this now. And be happy with how this looks and find someone that will love you and you'll love them for this, not the picture that's on my refrigerator of when I was young and hot, okay? So I hope that helped. Let's see, last question, oh boy. Okay, so Nancy, ask me a question. Can a long distance relationship work? And how can you make it better? Okay. Wait. Can a long distance relationship work? And okay. Yes. So, years ago, I always said I don't believe in long distance relationships, only because we have 3,000 clients on Long Island. So if you live on Long Island, why would you go through the trouble of going outside of that? But now, for the past 2 years, we're national. So I do have, since we're national, I'm matching couple clients from all across the country with the help of my fellow colleagues who are certified matchmakers. So now I believe in long-term relationships, and I've seen them work. I've seen them work with my brother Brian and Brian. They're in love and they're happy and they live in Texas, so I know it can work. Now, there are things that could make a long distance, I hope I said that correctly before. We're talking about a long distance relationship. So what could make it easier and what could make it harder? Okay. So to make it easier, realize what is difficult about dating if you lived in both on Long Island, okay? So with our clients, when you're dating here, typically we're all busy, so you know you're being matched and you'll go out a certain day, maybe the guy will call the next day, and then maybe she'll call the next day, and then they'll make plans, and everything gets drawn out. And you only get little bits and pieces of that person's personality to know when you're talking to them. Because if, you're living in the same town, no one really makes the time to be constantly getting to know that person as quickly as possible, which is needed in a long distance relationship. So if you do that, if you call each other more in the beginning, you're one step ahead of the game, and you'll find out quicker if either A, just say if the more you get to know the person, you don't like that person, okay, you remain friends. But you knew that quicker than you would if you were in the same town. So that's even a benefit. Or the amazing thing is, you might find, wow, that person makes me feel amazing when I talk to them. I want to talk to that person every single day. So if you're in a long distance relationship, utilize that if you have the benefit of enjoying talking to that person. No one's going to say, oh, we talk too much. You're not going to say that to each other because you don't live in the same town or state. So then once you get through the talking maybe every day, then you take it to the next level and you introduce FaceTime. Because let's face it, you want to see what the person looks like, okay? So again, if you do FaceTiming, which I'm a big fan of, by the way, and this is exactly how I had my most recent national client successful. It was her first match here, and he's from New Mexico. It was his first match. And so I laid it out for them to do exactly this, and it worked. So I know this works with long distance relationships. So if you're in one now, you just have to hope and pray that you're compatible to that person and that you have chemistry. And if you do, you're set. But, okay, so you get to the point of the FaceTiming. And now you're going to see, do you feel chemistry with that person? Because if you feel chemistry with that person, that's amazing. And just think of the dynamics that you're in a long distance relationship. The odds of you meeting each other on your own just are so much harder, and it's almost impossible that you're connecting. So capitalize on that and really feel the blessings that that gives you, and that should be even more motivating to get to know each other. So then usually you move on to talking in the morning and at night. And the best thing is, if you're in a long distance relationship and both parties are calling each other as much, then you know you both feel that way. And if you both feel that way, it is the greatest feeling in the world. So, when you're talking in the morning and at night, to me, that's how you know that that person is amazing, especially if they're calling you just as much. Okay, so just make sure you don't make the mistake that you're the person always calling. It has to be equal. And if it is equal, then you know how you feel about that person. He or she feels the same way about you. And again, now you just hope and pray that the compatibility is there, because if the chemistry is there, you just have to do the next step then. And what's the next step? Anyone want to comment? The next step is going to visit each other. And that is going to be so exciting. So just remember, if and when you're at that next step, don't get yourself stressed out over it. I know there's a lot of perfectionists out there, And you know, you get so nervous because things have been so wonderful at this point. But instead of thinking that, oh my gosh, you know, there's pressure, I'm nervous, just write down all the wonderful things about that person. Okay, so anytime you get nervous that, okay, he or she is coming, and you feel that nervousness, look at that sheet of paper to see all the great things about that person, and your nerves will feel so much better because you're reminding yourself of why you're at this next step, and this next step is what people hope and pray for all the time when you're single. Because no one wants to be single unless you're a player. You know, as humans, we weren't meant to be alone. Okay, we all need love. And if you're lucky enough to find it with someone that is long distance, the next step of seeing each other, really try to make the effort of not falling down the line of getting yourself nervous. I know it's harder. It's harder than it sounds. But by keeping that list, and by in the morning always remembering to manifest that you love that person and how happy that person is, all of that positive energy is going to become you and become your life, so that when you do get to meet, nothing can go wrong, because you have the inner core values of what you've been doing, talking and FaceTiming. Okay, so hopefully that helps anyone that is doing long-distance relationships. So, since there's no more questions, I have to, I think I have, do I have another question? Nope, not another question. Okay, so everyone, if you're single, don't waste time using the dating apps. When you know that only 1% of people using dating apps will pass our screening process, you know, if you're a person that doesn't like to waste time, then give us a call at 1-516-444-2861. And with my girl on vacation, just please leave a message, and I will be calling you back personally as quickly as I can. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I hope you all like my new green dress that I bought for a very special occasion. But anyway, it was great to see my friends watching, and if you have questions, of course, put them down, and I'm not going to answer them now, but I'll answer them before next week. Okay, so have a great weekend, and love is in the air. Everyone wants to be in love with summer, so we can definitely help you with that. Okay, bye.